driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Whatever happened to the times when we cared for one another? We shared the same respect. What is happening? We're trading what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we won. You're so much better than that. Sometimes the truth ain't always catchy as rap. Stop chasing cheese or you'll get stuck in a trap. Go get your crown and never render it back. No, it's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. You're way too gifted to stop and listen. It's condescending, not to mention all of our ignorance. Is there permission to? I know you like to turn up like that. With a drink to pull up like that. Well, baby, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Just make sure the God in you stays where it's at. You're the rising sun of a new day begun. Grind on till victory's won. I pray you do your thing till earth and heaven ring. Just don't forget where you come from.
You know, let me talk to him. Oh, you ain't know? You ain't heard it before? That spirit you take for granted is the God in your soul. It's a price that you owe. It can never be owned. So for this valued dollar, it can never be sold. We were kings and queens in the motherland. Problem is we shouldn't have spared the rod or the father's hand. Yo, where the fathers at? Kids raising kids. So basically they never really raised but more assisted. Thrown to the system for criminal definition instead of dreaming for better and taking care of your business. I promise. We've been gods from the crib. Thing is, you can call a king a slave if he don't know who he is. Man, it's blasphemy.
Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. God, God, God. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. It's me, your host, Nate. We're here for the 5th installment of the Artpreneurship, a series put together by Miss C. Natasha Richburg to help artists be better at who and what they are. This has been a phenomenal series in teaching a lot of teachable lessons that sometimes as artists and even entrepreneurs we don't know, and getting into whatever business that we are pursuing or goals that we have. And it's just little helpful hints to help you get over the humps and get out of the slump, and even if you're on top of your game, to maintain who you are and what you're doing. So I'm going to pass it over to Miss C. Natasha Richburg, our guest co-host for this 6-week series of Artpreneurship, where she will describe what we're doing today, the topics on hand, and we're going to jump right into the conversation.
Apologize for that. Technical difficulties here. Kind of understanding what we should do to know when enough is enough, and knowing when you're in the unknown of your artistry, when you just don't know what you don't know. And then the second week we talked about what is your life's purpose. Do you have a plan as an artist? Are you just jumping in and doing anything willy-nilly, or do you have a plan for what you want to achieve? And what questions drive your destiny? We talked about that. Then we went into the artist's life. What phase of development are you in? Are you new to this? Are you seasoned? Are you in between being new and seasoned? And how do you define success? Then we went through a topic near and dear to my heart, and that's balancing your life as an artist and your home life, particularly when you have children, when you have a husband, and you want to keep a clean house, and you want to make sure home is right before you hit the street. That kind of thing was very good to understand and do. And today, valuing your team. First, we're going to talk about what is a team. No man, woman, child becomes a successful artist alone. You need a team of people who come around you, who support you up, to girt you up. And everybody has a different strategy regarding what it means to have a team around you. As a leader and the CEO of CNR Ministries and the founder of C. Natasha Productions, I don't know if I define team as other people typically do, but there are some that define team in the same manner that I do. From my perspective, I look as a team as individuals who are CEOs in their own right, who come in to collaborate with me and what I need to be done, and I can trust them. I know they have a heart for what they do, a heart for what I do, and together we elevate each other to do more. For example, one of the people who I consider as a member of who I look to as a team is Aisha Butler, who is the photographer who takes all of my photos. Any photos you see with C. Natasha Richburg and Melvin Richburg or any artist that I ever work with, she takes those photos. She is a business owner with Jeff's Jazzy Studios. She and her husband Jeff run that studio, and they represent excellence to me. They not only represent excellence, but they represent individuals with a kind, loving, and giving heart. And as a result, Aisha and I can sit down and collaborate on what is the focus of a photo shoot, what do we expect to get from it, design the set, design the outfits, and kind of make sure her expertise meets the mission and vision that I have for my business. Another person who I look to as a member of what I call team is Rod Lopez, who's a filmmaker, director, producer, and he's an entrepreneur in New Styles Independent Pictures, and all music videos plus commercials that I've done have come through him. He's passionate about what he does. He's an expert at what he does. He's done his own short films, like right now his movie on the arrangement is winning and being celebrated at film festivals worldwide, as well as him doing the film for Pat Harris for the Tormentors. He's an expert at what he does. Other people who I consider that support me from a team perspective, I look to Robert Williams. He provides me with the intellect to understand the business of music. When I first came in and started doing music, it was things I didn't know, the unknown unknown. So when I was in the unknown unknown and didn't even know what I didn't know, he helped me understand and position myself accordingly to let me kind of move my artists forward. I also talked to different mentors in the industry that will remain unnamed at this time, who I can call their phones and they answer me, and with their guidance and support. And the one thing I can express the most, they tell me the truth. The truth don't always feel good. Sometimes the truth hurts. What I've been learning in this field, people think a good teammate is a person who says yes. That's not a good teammate. Your team needs to be able to push back if they don't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it sometimes. So it's people I can trust that can tell me the truth. And so one of the things that we're going to do today, we're going to bring some people in a little later, and I'll introduce them at that time, and we're going to talk about from their perspective what it means to have a team. How do you value the team, and how do you come together accordingly? One thing I definitely wanted to do with this audience that I was thinking about, how am I going to present this comment and content to you? One of the things I do as an adjunct instructor at the UMBC, I teach this course called Information Technology Project Management. And in Information Technology Project Management, you don't not only learn about systems development life cycle, and you learn about, cost benefit analysis and SWOT analysis. We learn what it means to work on a team. So one of the things I do usually around the first 2 weeks of class, I'll go to the chalkboard, even though I can't draw. It's my favorite drawing. I like to draw a stick person with the head and the body and the legs and the arms, the little feet and the hands. And sometimes I do a face, sometimes I give him hair, so it'll be her hair. And then one other thing I do, I put 2 heads on top of this body. And what I say to the class, what is that a picture of? And they'll say, an ugly stick person. Right. It is an ugly stick person, but what more is this? And they'll say, I don't know. I say, it's a 2-headed monster. No team has 2 heads functioning at the exact same time. Everybody has a role. Even if you have co-leaders, one co-leader may be the business person, one co-leader may be the financial person, one co-leader may be the strategist, but only one head at a time on a team. So if a person is designated as the head, another person will have to be the body. The body of the team can simply be the individual who reads all of the documentation once it's gathered and makes sure when a report is put together, it reads like one voice. Period. That person's role may not be the person to gather the data, but it may be the person that makes it read like one voice. Another role might be the arms and the hands, and those are the information gatherers. They go and do all of the research based on the premise that you're trying to prove or disprove. And they go to their respective corners and bring it in and summarize it so the person who's the body makes it read. Then there's other people who may be the legs and feet of it. They might do the SWOT analysis that looks at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the information that you gathered as a team. They may be the people who do the cost-benefit analysis to make sure that the costs and benefits for the project have been properly analyzed. One person may do the risk assessment, who assess the risk associated with the project. There's a risk. So because I want to have an outside wedding, what do I do if it rains? Oh, we have a tent. Oh, we come inside. The risk person makes sure there's something to mitigate the risk, and they develop a mitigation strategy. So how do I do it for my own business? For my own business, I am the head of my business. We don't have two heads, but my husband, sometimes I got to step out of that head role, and he steps in and does an analysis of all of the data I put together. And why does he do that? Because on some issues, he's just gifted to do better than me. He's a wonderful judge of character. I thought I was good. I'm all right. But he's like excellent. He's a wonderful judge of the corporate culture that's going on around me to make sure what we're trying to do fits in the culture of today. Because the culture from 2018 is not necessarily the same culture for 2019. And so in those instances, I bring my analysis to him and I sit back. And he's so good, to be honest, whatever he says, go. I got enough history to trust him. I don't argue. I take it. The other thing I have, my arms in this particular process is my eldest child. She does a lot of the administrative work for me to make sure I make it to meetings on time, to make sure I write them on my calendar properly. Because I write down a Wednesday meeting on Tuesday and wonder why I'm the only one on the phone ready for the meeting. And she'll call me up and say, "Mommy, your meeting's tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh." And so she really helps me to keep that together. Then even though I'm a technologist in a lot of ways, I use my son, Marcellus, to look at my technology and refresh it. I don't like when my computers, because I have 3 that I work actively, run slow. So I get him to come in and defrag to make sure everything's up to date. I come in and have him refresh the currency of my software. And he does that in a way that even though I can do it, I just step back and look at him as the authority. But that's my team. So when it comes to the music part of it, like with Sonny Du Marseille, I lay out the schedule that we should be working on. But I don't tell him how to do his music. I don't tell him what song should do or not do. I let him do it. And when he's finished, I listen, not from a critical music ear, I listen from a business ear. And I make sure the business objectives are met. So we're going to take a quick commercial break because we have some business to take care of during the commercial break. So don't go anywhere. The Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BeExposedRadio.com.
This unknown to find who we really are. Crash into something new and take a break from our broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, there's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, let's sing a song we my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that do whatever you like. Oh no, she couldn't. So let's slide, you and me alone, to find who we really are. Crash into something new. I got ballet banging up the car. You threw me a kiss, told me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, I wanna take you, but we gotta groove so we can lose the crowd. If you wanna rule, there's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move, don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that she can't get enough, show enough, she couldn't. Oh no, she couldn't. Touching hands till we dance in the dark, show enough, she couldn't. We do whatever you like. Oh no, she couldn't. Sing a song, you can be my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. Tell that she can't get enough, show love. Show love. It's so good to keep her hands off me. Shoot it, do it. It's so cool, yeah. Dance till we dance in the dark, show love. She couldn't. We do whatever you like. I know she couldn't.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange, the Artist Exchange, the Artist Exchange, Artist Exchange, Artist Exchange, Artist Exchange Live, the Artist Exchange, Artist Exchange, the Artist Exchange.
starts now.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I have none other than Miss C. Natasha Richburg, Miss Tell It Like It T.I. is with us, and we're on episode number 5 of a 6-week series where we're giving information and knowledge and just like a slap on the face to artists and individuals and entrepreneurs, because this information is general and is across the board to individuals that are pursuing the arts, that are in the arts, that are struggling in the arts, that are even succeeding in the arts. Because we've had a gambit of individuals come through for this series as guests that are still have struggles, no matter where they are, because it's still, you have to maintain it, even if you're on the top. But we're now talking about team building today.
Right, exactly.
So we was discussing during the break some of maybe my faux pas.
Yeah, no, it wasn't faux pas. We was looking at your strategy.
My strategy.
Yeah.
But it has come as some horrible lessons, some harsh lessons, and some harsh realities about myself. And it's not something that I wear on my sleeve. Like, I don't trust people. I don't trust people. But I have to be honest, when I'm working with people, I have trust issues. So now I'm going to watch you either help me or push me further back into it. Because even if you tell people, show all your cards, they still think that you don't see them.
Right, exactly.
And if he being so transparent, I can hide behind his transparency. And I'm watching you the whole time. I've watched people who I've tried to create a team with still try to dismantle it right in front of me. And I'm going to watch you. I'm going to see how far you going to go with it. Until it gets to the point where it begins to destroy things. Then that's where I'm going to stop you. But I'm going to see how far you going to go. Because some people don't know. Some people just choose not to know. And then there are others who know exactly what they're doing. So for me, my team strategy now is surrounding myself with hardworking people that share my intentions, not just my work ethic, but my intentions. So our goals have to be similar. They don't necessarily have to be the same, but they have to be in the same direction. You know, in terms of work ethic, you have to work almost as hard as me. I'll take almost, you know, because I know sometimes I'll go and be like, oh yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you got to be to work at 7, go to sleep. You know, I've been in the studio to the wee hours of the morning, sharing stuff on the internet and trying to find guests and booking guests 2 and 3 months ahead. I've been through that. And now, you know, I wish I had an older daughter and a husband to be able to, you know, support, but we don't always have that.
That's true.
So the reality of it is you sometimes got to do it all yourself.
That's the truth. And you know what? When I first started out, when I wrote my first book, I thought because I wrote my first book that everybody would come around me and be willing to help. But you know, sometimes we have invisible off-camera friends like Miss Denise that will be my road hamster and kind of come along with me and support me in that regard.
But we don't look at her as a support system.
But she is.
Because she's not doing what I'm doing.
But she knows her role.
You know that now.
Yeah.
But often we ignore that person.
Oh no,
because
not
you're
in this
not.
ministry.
But I'm just saying in general.
Yes.
We often overlook that person.
Yes.
Because they don't know what they want.
And that's the part we talk about at the end, learning not to take valuable people for granted.
So I'm not going to talk about that.
You know, you are opened enough just going there too soon, but whatever.
But just in terms of team building, I am learning it takes trust.
It does.
I'm still side-eyeing you, but I'm going to walk by faith in this moment.
Why you side-eyeing me?
No, I'm just saying
I
for
saw
me.
You turn your head on me. I saw it.
But I do that though,
I'm
because people come into situations with intentions they're not willing to share with people. When I go into a situation, I'm telling you, this is a learning experience for me. I just quit a job. I told y'all last week. I went in there a year ago saying, I'm coming. I want to see the lay of the land. I want to see how you all work with things. I'm always honest. That has probably cut me out of opportunities with people, but I would rather cut me out than me being it and then you get mad in
well,
the midst
I don't
of it.
think so, because I believe strongly in divine reciprocity.
Right.
And so because you went in with honesty and they took your kindness as a weakness, I think your stuff is going to go like tenfold when you blow up and be king of the world.
That's
and they're going to say,
word.
they say, why get naked then? Because back when he was being honest and you was being a
But you didn't even know.
You didn't even know. You didn't even know. And so sometimes when things happen to me, I say, do I get even or do I succeed? I choose to succeed.
Yep, keep moving.
And the best thing about people who refuse to be in my corner and back me up, it just let me see who not to go back to.
I don't even take it personal anymore.
Right.
We can have a closing interview,
Right.
and I'm gonna be just as nice.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell people who I think would best work for this environment. Go on. I'm gonna let people know.
Right.
I used to want to bash, and I got into a point, and I think we talked about this like probably like the beginning of last year, end of the year before that, where I was in like an angry mode with people because everybody I felt was doing me wrong.
Right.
I felt like I had an individual that was supposed to be one of my co-hosts that told me straight to my face, I don't want to be on this show other than that 1 week where you let me host.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you would say that to somebody? But I'm glad he said it. But it took me having to say, what is the problem? Why aren't you never here? Why aren't you, sharing or supporting? But in that person's mind, that 1 week, it was their brand. And people aren't honest with themselves to know I'm going into a situation with somebody else that has worked and built something else for themselves, and I'm trying to make it mine, versus going out there and getting it myself.
But still, that still goes back to the place, what's for you is for you. And even if they come in to try to make what you did their brand, they can't, because it's not for them. Just like this seat is your brand. I'm sitting here for 6 weeks, 1 more week only, because that's all I was designed to do.
I know my prayers work.
I know your prayers got me here for 6 weeks. And because this is not my ministry, I wanted to help a friend and bring in some friends of mine in the meantime. But to me, I also consider you as a teammate. And it's your integrity as an individual. I know if you say to come, you're not going to say to come, send me an outline and then throw it in the trash. I know if once you said it was an outline and give me dates, I knew you weren't going to back off.
And that, for me, once you tell me what you want, I find myself in it. Let's get to work.
Right.
And then people like, oh, I'll get tech you to in a couple weeks. What? I'm ready to work. You got somebody ready to work. And I've always wished that I could find a me.
But you know what? Going back to the audience, that's your teammate. When they say they want to work and you say, give me 2 weeks, you lost them. When they say they want to work, you just give them something, make it up. Give them something. Because if you give them something, you got them.
And I've said that to people, like, when they saw me walking out, well, where are you going? Well, if you would have at least had a plan, I can see you don't have a plan right now.
Right.
And that's fine. Call me when you got one.
Right.
And I'm out the door because I schedule myself. I'm really a stickler for my time. I may be there within the 5-minute window, but I'm a stickler for my time.
Right.
And I try to do too much, which is why I'm always running from thing to thing. But I've learned to just relax and let be what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Like, don't try to crowd your schedule with stuff just to have something to do. That was my 20s. I always had a flyer to give you. I always had something to do. I never had a moment to myself. And this last year and a half, I've had nothing but time. And that silence can be crazy.
Yeah.
It'll get to you. And I was like, I gotta get the rehearsal. And that forced me to do things that I didn't want to do. And I was on cast that I didn't want to be on. And I stayed in projects that were not good for my name, my brand, my integrity. Because I just wanted something to do.
Right.
And that was fun because I needed to learn those lessons.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, I'm just learning how to just figure out what I want.
Right.
And I don't do that thing where I'm going to give everybody a teachable moment, because it ain't always for me to give you that.
Right.
But I'm even interviewing people to be a part of my team. Well, I can't come today, but I'm going to come. Oh, I wasn't taught that you can say that to an interviewer.
Right.
Like, you going to tell me what time you coming?
Right.
That means you going to do that when you get here.
Right.
And have a nice day. And that's it. And
one of the things about being in a team, and I tell my students that in the project management class, you have to give them the whipping. What's in it for me? People won't do anything if they don't see something in it for themselves. So I do make it my business to make it very clear to people who team with me that I'm an extreme loyalist.
Right.
So as I get greater opportunities, that means you get greater opportunities. Because everybody who has like been ride or die with me on this team of writing books and managing artists, when I get to the next level, I'm not looking for a new team. I know who to call if I need photos, who to call if I need video, who to call if I need PR, who to call if I need to actually style us, who I can call for administrative support, because they already been there.
So I'm going to take a quick commercial break because I believe our caller is about to call in.
Yes.
So we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. So stay tuned, stay locked in. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
To 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature, and I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular, it's getting that person money, it's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like, you know,
the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. So deeply wounded, but don't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. So you just sit there and you suffer in silence. Your pride won't let you just uncover your secret. Don't wanna look weak in your image, it ain't worth losing. So you just act as if it's nothing happening. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you. You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. Suicidal, depressed, but you won't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. You feel alone even though the people surround you. Popping pills every night even though you know they can't solve it. The emotional pain, it just seems way too heavy. Your mind is racing, wanna scream, somebody help me. God sees you, and God hears you.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
These type of people sit right under our noses.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange Live.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. We're talking about building teams today, and we have have Miss C. Natasha Richburg as our guest co-host, and of course I am your host. And then we got this mythical person that's in the room, not in the room. Maybe one day they'll be in the room. But we actually have our first guest for today, so I'll pass it over to Ms. Richburg.
Good afternoon again, and on the line we have Ms. Kaisha Woods, who is the CEO of Kit Media Agency and Lux Lab Philly. She's a serial entrepreneur, and she has a Monday on the Moves show on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, and she is an entrepreneur extraordinaire. And at this time, Kaisha, I'd like to welcome you to the show and tell our audience a little bit about who you are.
Hello, Natasha and this audience. Thank you guys for having me so much. I am just an entrepreneur that want to see other people win. I mean, I'm just really just that simple.
Mm-hmm. You are, and where are you located?
We're located in Philadelphia. Well, my brick and mortar business, which is Lux Lab Philly, is located in Glenside, PA, 81 Langston Pike, Glenside, PA. And then Kit Media Agency is wherever my client needs me to be.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about, I like the story about how you became an entrepreneur. So start there. The high school girl and that stuff.
All right, well, I started doing hair when I was 7. I started making money when I was 11. I started working in a hair salon when I was 12, going on 13. I got my teacher's license at age 19 and made my first $100,000 at doing something that I absolutely love. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer and doctor because I was not that ambitious. Only you get that joke. Only you get that joke. And then when I found out, so when I found out that I was able to make $100,000 working 3 days a week doing something I absolutely love, and although I wanted to be a lawyer because I was analytical and I wanted to be a doctor because I like to dissect things down, I found that I was able to pursue a hobby which I didn't realize was my passion for me to actually help other people to be the best that they could be. And in the meantime, I was making money at doing it as well. But because I loved it, I didn't know that I could actually make a career, a living, a business out of something that I like to do.
Yeah, and so as you evolved from and doing hair and beauty and every aspect of the beauty business, talk about how you got into Kit Media Agency.
Okay, so Kit Media Agency evolved out of the beauty business. One thing about me is that I love to learn. I love to be a part of new experiences. So for me doing hair, I have friends, you know, Grammy Award-winning producers. So I was doing hair and makeup for videos, and then I was doing models hair, and then I always do professional women's hair. So I always was able to build a lot of relationships. So from that, I went into radio for 2 years, talking about it was a wellness lifestyle show, and then that evolved into a television show. And so I wouldn't look bootleg. I made Kit Media Agency, which is, you know, my father's namesake. And it started from there, and then from me doing the videos and building these relationships, I met a lot of artists, and I became a manager, which I was only supposed to be a business consultant, but I wanted to become a manager, and then I became a Grammy member, and then I wanted to become a producer because I wanted producing my own radio and television show. And then that took me into film. And so from there, I was able to utilize my image consulting and turn it into branding. And because I'm a hairstylist and love people and talk to people, I was great at marketing. So I made a brand marketing firm. And that's what Kit Media Agency is.
And so from my perspective, I'm going to throw this little plug in. And I've gone to LA with you, and you know everybody, so we was able to get into all of the secret parties, and I will publicly thank you for that again. And so Tell me, so that means as an individual, you know how to connect and you know how to make it within a people's with them. What's in it for me to let see Natasha Richburg into a party when I didn't see it in myself? You do that better than anybody I know. So let's talk about.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. So tell me about what it takes to build a team. Let's talk about a team in general, and you give us one of your examples.
Well, so I want to piggyback off of what you were talking about. By me being a hairstylist, you know, being a hairstylist, I'm licensed like a doctor. We're the only people in the world that is licensed to touch you. And so that means we invade your personal space like nobody's business, right?
Right.
And so that enabled me to learn how to build relationships extraordinarily fast.
Right.
Which means I can shake your hand, and I'll shake your hand and look at you a certain way, and I get this feeling, and we connect. And so being able to connect on that kind of high level also helps you be able to get into the rooms that you're not supposed to be in. It helps you build relationships with people that technically would not even be normally your peer, because you are able to touch them in a different way. And so doing that is how I've been learning to also establish and have been able to establish building teams that way.
Right. And then the other thing that you're really good at, you have personal teams that work with you. Let's talk about some of the good things about that and some of the bad things about that, and then I want to go one more place. So talk about that.
What kind of teams did you say?
Like the team, let's start, just do in the beauty business. How has that been building teams? The good and the bad. The good and the challenges.
Okay. Okay, so the good is that because I'm visible, people can quickly do research on me. They can Google me. They see, you know, where I'm going, where I'm at, my thought processes, people that I'm actually connected to. So that makes them want to be a part of it. The bad part about it is that people want to be a part of it and don't want to take the time to build those relationships themselves or take the time to learn the skill to build those type of relationships. So, you know, in a nutshell, you know, it took me 20 to 30, sometimes more years to build these relationships that look so effortless, but they don't understand that it came from a long history of building a relationship, building a trust factor, giving way more than I was ever receiving. And so because I'm a giver more than I am a receiver, is also how I'm able to build these type of relationships.
Oh yes, and I can say, and one of the things that's excellent about you, I can tell you anywhere in the world that I'm going, and you'll say, let me call up such and such and tell them you're coming. And I was like, well, thank you, because you've had so many years in it, and you have an ability to make relationships look effortlessly. I like to say for you, you're the only person that I've ever seen to give a C-suite level meeting, meaning all corporate executives, all the CFOs, CEOs, COO, and all the OOs, and you get them all in the building and you introduce them to one another. And like a bumblebee, you'll make the whole place buzz. And plus, we had the best time at Rob's party. I mean, it was so much fun. I always talking about that. And that's a gift. Talk about the good and the bad, because in a way you have an ability to establish an instantaneous team in a building of complete strangers, and you're the connector.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that comes from being part of a huge family and a very multicultural family. So, and I mean that in so many different ways. I mean race, I mean age, I mean from different walks of life. My family encompass all of that, so I'm so used to being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's really a unique factor of the way I grew up, is how I'm able to take and build these and put these two people together that would have never ever met one another, and then they're now able to do amazing business, partnerships and relationships with. It's kind of hard to explain how I'm able to utilize that gift. It's, like I said, it's just very intuitive, and I just know what I know. And so when I pick people to come to events, because a lot of times they're semi-private, they appear to be public, but trust me, the room was definitely cherry-picked for the right people to be able to make the right connections, to make them to be able to do exceptional things.
And you know what I have to say, Kaisha? You're the first person I personally met that's had gotten me into cherry-picked rooms. I never knew about that part of the business, but it's a real part. Yeah. And until you get to that part of the business, it's difficult to make those kind of meaningful connections with decision makers. But let me talk about this with you. And we talk about this a lot offline, so do the public voice.
Yes.
How did you learn how to trust people?
Wow. How did I learn how to trust people?
Yes.
You know, that's a huge thing. I think naturally I trust everyone. You have to prove me wrong. So that was something that my mom was always very fearful of me about, because I love everybody, honestly. You have to actually do something to me or teach me about yourself for me not to trust you. That person teaches me not to trust them. So again, I think that you explained to me that that's a gift, because not everybody just go into life like that. And I also trust myself more than I guess I trust the people, because what I am is confident in who I am, and what I am is confident in the God I serve, and what I am is confident that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So whatever you think you're going to do to me won't happen. But what will happen is that you will learn a different way of connecting and realizing that people, I just genuinely believe that there's good in everyone.
Right.
And because I approach it in that way, normally I get a positive response.
Right. And
so it's who you are, is what you do that connects that connection. So because I'm going into it without any, motives, and when I'm going into a relationship or meeting people, I'm not going into it with motives. I'm a pure person and want to see pure connections happen for people. So that's, I guess, is because of the energy that I'm focusing in that room at that time, I guess.
Right. And so one of the things I do notice about you, you're extraordinarily trustworthy, and you trust everybody. So when you build a team and you determine that members of the team do not have the same vision that you have for your business, how do you handle that?
They gotta go. I give you an opportunity.
Tell us how you really feel.
Tell me how you feel, right, Kaisha? What I've learned, and I've learned this the hard way. A lot of times I used to try to hold on and try to fix. I'm not. Can I say what I usually like to say? I'm not Captain Saber. You know what?
Yeah, you know what? Captain Saber. You know what? That's right.
I'm not Captain Saber. You know what? The thing that usually kills the ground. So because I'm not, because I learned. It took me a long time to learn that I wasn't a Captain Saber everybody. But what I have learned is that whatever time that they have spent, and when I learned to release or graduate or allow them to move on into their journey, when I've learned to do that, they actually learn from that. So I still did my job, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I got that.
I still did my job. So even though you have to go because you fired yourself, because I don't fire people, they fire themselves.
That's right.
Because they agreed to these terms of which Lux Lab, Kit Media Agency, Accelerate PHL, whatever, business entity that they fall underneath working with me, they agreed to these things because again, I'm not a micromanager. I'm a micromanager, but not a micromanager.
Right.
Like I give you everything and I lay all the out, and then when you decide to want to change the rules, then you got to go.
Right. I
you got to go. You're not going to change because that's the sauce. Remember, the sauce is there, and the relationship is there because I put them in place. You can't change the implementation of how I put these things in place. You can't change that.
Right.
Then you got to do your own thing. You need to do your own thing. It's time to do your own thing, and I encourage that very quickly.
Right, but one of the things I want to talk about in this process, and I've seen you do it, anytime you have a support scene, you have to do things that allow you to recognize the support team or your support system. And one of the things I do, I like them to go with me sometimes. Sometimes we have nice events. Let's talk about some of the things that you've done with your support team that afford them to do something that without you they might not have been able to do that.
Wow, I mean,
I think
you know when yeah, you said what?
The fashion show. That's one example.
Oh yeah, it's so funny because things that I kind of take for granted because I've done for so long and I have these relationships, and I do it purely again out of support.
Right.
You know, I don't know the level of where I'm taking people to. So, you know, my team when I first was last year, the team that I had last year, none of them had ever attended Philly Fashion Week. Kevin and Carrie are friends of mine. I support them. I remember when it was just a dream of theirs, and to see what they've been able to accomplish and bring to fruition. And they are always so gracious enough to have a special seat for me. If I decide to come, I always have a special seat, and they always make room for my guests as well. And so we were able to do that, and they were able to meet Iris Bryant, who is awesome. She does these pink lips, which, you know, Cardi B wears all of her stuff, and so many other A-list celebrity wears, because she's about being a female empowerment boss. So she has all this, you know, stuff over. So they got to meet her and take these pictures, and, you know, they're able to go to Grammy events and Grammy parties and, you know, deal with politics and go and learn things about how to be, you know, implemented into the community and become community leaders. So, you know, again, I don't look at it as much until I start seeing them really flourish. And I'm like, wow, this really, okay.
We have to pay bills.
No, I've got a question.
Oh, Nate has a question for you.
How you doing?
Sure.
So how
are you, Nate? How are you?
I'm great. I knew you were going to be a spitfire from the headshot. I was saying but I'm a binder, so I'm a person that brings people together, and I'm gonna go back to something you said earlier. But in you selecting or cherry picking, as your words were, what is your rule to getting different people together? Because not everybody mixes well. But how do you gauge personalities versus expertise and success and all those things on the left? But how do you balance that with personality in general?
That's a very good question. And my process is so unorthodox.
Yes, it is.
But it has always been 100% spot on. My process, again, comes from me being a hairstylist. So it's very intuitive. And a lot of times when I'm cherry picking these rooms is because I've already built relationships with these people outside of this room. So a lot of my honing in on how they can build relationships, even if it is business, even if it's 100% business, is me getting to know them personally. Because I learned the love language of each person that I work with.
Right.
And I know it sounds kind of strange, but it really comes from the love language, because, like, you know, I can tell you if some people don't like their hair curled a certain way, I can tell you the reason why they don't like it because of a certain personality type, the reason why they don't like that. Or if they like certain colors in their hair, you know, it's an aura thing that goes along with their personality. If I can can look at somebody the way that they're dressed, and I can tell you what they like, what they don't like, what kind of music they like, and it comes from me being a hairstylist that we're able to invade, again, the personal space very quickly to help blend these relationships, both business and personally, together. And that's the only way I can explain. It's my secret sauce, as C. Natasha always says.
Yes.
And it truly, I really am learning that it truly is a secret sauce, although it is so apparent to me. Like, can't you see blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
I remember one time you were on a panel of IT specialists, and of course, I know I don't look like an IT, but one of the guys got like 4 commas in his income. And he was just chilled out and regular.
Well, he don't have nothing to worry about.
But sometimes people of that type are tight. And I'm like, how does she pick a person of that caliber that was a chilled out kind? And Kaisha knew he would match. He matched the room.
Right.
And I was like, that's
he also helped elevate the room too, right? And that same person told me that they learned so much from the room.
Wow.
Right? Exactly, because they need that relationship as well.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, people are people. People wake up, they go to sleep, they gain weight, they lose weight, they need to eat.
Why are you
they need to, drink water.
Don't talk about weight.
They gotta drink. They have to drink water. They have to sleep. So because people are people, once you learn the core of that person, basically everything falls into place, because whatever you do personally, you will do business. Whatever you do business, you will do personally. You are the same person.
Right. That's true.
Although people like to think that they know how to distinct, and I'm very good at compartmentalizing things. However, you still are who you are to the core. So a lot of times, those personal things will arise even in business. And what I've learned even in business, when you're trying to pivot and go to the next level in life, you have to up yourself personally before you can actually up yourself business-wise. Right. So that's why those kind of people mesh with people that don't have the same commas, but at the same token, we all have the same struggle.
Okay, one more question, because I'm going to have to let you go. I need you to give people your social media information and what you got going, and then I'm going to ask you one little question. Social media.
Okay, so social media, you can find me at Kaisha Woods, KYSHAWOODS, and from there, you'll find Kit Media Agency, Lux Lab, and Accelerate PHL, and kind of follow the journey from there. I do On the Move Mondays every Monday at 10 a.m. Successful thinking for anyone, as well as tips and tricks for entrepreneurship. What I got going on, we got a lot of things going on. And so if they follow us on Monday on the Move and follow the social media, they'll see all the things going on, because we got to wrap this up in a minute.
Yeah. and just in one sentence, tell me what team means to you. Real quick. What does team mean to you?
Synergy.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Synergy.
You've been a blessing and a bomb. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So are you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your show. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Talk to you soon.
This has been another installment of Artist Exchange Radio Show. We had a phenomenal guest. We got one more guest coming up, but we're going to go to a commercial break, pay some bills, and we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Wow.
Anything, it's a go. We going live now. Got a favorite song, call into the show. Is we ready? Yep. 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go.
That's what I'm talking about. Cheryl Underwood Radio. Yeah. The Iceman coming. Big Frost. chili. Our super producer.
Ice cold.
And where's Harry Sutherland?
Oh man.
Oh, he's at the county commissioner thing.
Yeah.
That's right. He's an official.
The official Courtney Black back with the facts.
You know that?
He's real commissioner.
Elected, truly elected county commissioner.
Yes.
Doing commissioner work.
That's what I'm talking about. Jim Kelly,
right?
Owner and proprietor of Sports Bar. But wait a minute, how did we not? Maybe we thought he was coming. He maybe not finished with the business.
No.
But Kyle Irby, our man rights activist.
Be a man at all times.
And Jim Kelly, owner and proprietor of the Sports Bar.
He's here.
When we get to the Sports Bar, how are we going to talk about the combine? How are we going to talk about the salary caps?
Yeah.
How are we going to talk about what's going on in college basketball? We got to do it without Harry.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
How we going to talk about what's the dude that's going back to the team? That wasn't Witten?
What?
Oh, gosh.
Okay, we got to talk about that. And then we got to bring it back when Harry come back.
Yeah,
okay, we got to bring it back when Harry come back.
He's probably out celebrating. That's where he is.
Not without me, Jim. Not without me.
Yeah, he over at Ben Chili Bowl and Ben Chili Bowl next door celebrating. But Harry Sutherland.
Wow.
What? Now, how that Courtney Black back with the facts? And Kyle Irby, our man rights activist?
I'm in the building.
How are we going to talk about the U.S. Marshals now have the ability to seize the game's assets?
Man, we need Harry.
The game, like the rap of the game?
Yeah.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here on BeExposedRadio.com. We are 5 weeks into a 6-week series with Miss C. Natasha Richburg and all of her information in her little black book of knowledge and all her phenomenal cohorts on her team. And now we have another one of those individuals that has been through the rain and the storm today, and she has made it through to join the conversation. You want to introduce her?
Yes, everybody. Welcome, Tressa Dorsey, elder, author of new book yet to be released, Remarkable Faith, servant leader who has learned to overcome. Overcome.
Hallelujah.
She had to overcome to get here. She had to overcome through life. Overcoming is who she is. And you look right lovely in that.
Thank you very much.
Denise, you like that? Oh, that's not on camera, Denise. You like that? We've been talking about what it means to have a team around us in a support system today. We just got off of the phone with Kaisha Woods, a Kit Media Agency, Lux Lab, Accelerate, PXL, and Serial Entrepreneur. We got off of the phone with her and talked about her approach to it. Earlier, I talked about what it means to have a team and a support system. And I said servant leader for a reason when it comes to you. Because this woman, she knows how to have a team. Can I tell you business?
Okay.
This woman knows what it means to build a team, but she knows what it means to serve. In an era when everybody thinks they are the kings and queens and waiting to be served, she knows how to serve in leadership. She knows how to see a need and minister to it and bring others in to understand, though she needs a support system herself. So let's talk from the perspective first, from the perspective I wanted to bring you in, is the comfortable before I get to the more uncomfortable. Okay. I'm going to keep you comfortable since you're still running. You have to get here. Okay. Let's talk from the perspective of being a servant leader. And let's talk from a servant leader and I wanted to say ministry perspective, because people who know you in that environment, they see you work.
Right.
You work with the big W. I mean, she worked. She worked. She worked so hard. It's like, why are you sitting down? It's not sitting. Why are you sitting down?
Why you leaning?
Oh yeah, why you leaning?
Yeah.
You sick? Because that's what you. So let's talk about what it means to be a servant leader from your perspective.
So first, before you can even get to the leader portion, the very first word is servant. Before you get to the word servant, you have to have serve. And in a day and age where people have, I would say, tarnished that word serve, is one of those things where it has to be a combination of ingrained as well as being around persons that help you develop what's already in you. For me, my servant spirit was actually developed by my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
So I learned from her at a young age, especially being the grandchild of a pastor and a first lady. My grandmother preferred to operate in the background. So back to the servant leader, one of the things that I also see is that people are more, they're taking leadership classes and going and get leadership certificates. Well, how about we start with learning how to follow? The best leadership knows how to have followership. Because how can you lead anyone anywhere if you haven't first followed somebody somewhere?
That's what you said, Nate.
Asking people to do stuff that you haven't done yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you get to understanding what the servant role is and the followership, then you can graduate to the servant leadership. So for me, like I said earlier, I learned servanthood by watching my grandmother. My grandmother took care of persons in the community. It was nothing for our house to have persons in it, you know, that their parents couldn't take care of them for a while, so she took them in. I had two uncles that, you know, that struggled with alcoholism, and one of my uncles also had epilepsy. He would fall when he would drink, bust his head open. My grandmother would tell my other uncles and my brothers, go get him. She would nurse him back to health every time. Didn't ask for anything. She made sure he had clean clothes. She made sure he ate. And I watched all of that. So for me, I developed that servant leader personality from just watching her. I'm the baby of 7. So, you know, yes, to some degree, I am spoiled, but it's as if now I'm the one that's responsible for leading the charge in my family. So, so in order to really be a true servant leader, you first have to serve as a follower.
And the reason I opened up with that particular title for you, because you are a servant leader moving to leader. And the transition has been gradual, but people still see you as your grandmother's daughter. And I wanted to talk about that real time, because that's not uncommon. People don't talk about it. And I want to talk about it because though in your heart you always want to serve, though in your spirit you know how to lead, you are moving to the ordained leadership role. One of the things that I know as being an author, when I did my first book, some people don't say it out loud, but they wonder, well, I didn't give you permission to write that book. How you write it without talking to me first? And you published it before I got to read it? So where do I fit in this? I don't, no, they don't want to buy it.
No, I would have told them that's their role.
I didn't think about that. I should have thought about that. And so now that you're moving into that, and you never told me this, but I know it. Been there, done that. And when you move to that role of the leader that you've been ordained to become, people still see you as the little girl. And they don't see you as the grown woman that you are. Tell us about that transition.
One of the things that began to happen is So when you're in that servant leadership role, persons see you as the servant, but not often as the leader. So when the servant role is beginning to diminish and the leadership role is beginning to increase, it's like, wait a minute, who does she think she is?
Wait a minute, wait, you stop, wait a minute. And that's what they do.
And that's what they do. I'm a visual, I talk with my hands.
The same way.
Yeah, but people want to say, whoa, wait, hold up. Did you go through, did you run that by me? And and initially the servant in you comes out and says, you know what?
The servant.
Take that mic from him. Take that mic from him.
Honestly.
And it's like, and then but what ends up happening is that a grain of doubt about who you are begins to try to creep in. And it's like, wait, hold up. And I used to do that until some folks crossed the line and the ugly had to come out.
See, when I said it,
I maintained my composure, but I had to go from the preaching voice to, and who do you think you're talking to? And I'm like, wait, hold up, you must have me confused with somebody. And
now we get to the bottom.
Right. In the back of my head, it went from the back of my head to the front, which says, you cannot conquer what you're not willing to confront. Amen. So I had to confront some folks in order to conquer the situation and move into my leadership role. So now that I'm walking in my ordained authority and walking out the steps that were placed before me without anybody's permission, is freaking people the heck out. Because
tell us how you really feel. No, I'm just joking. I'm just telling you.
Because I get now. At one time they would look at me strange. Now I get the head tilt.
So Nate, did you get the head tilt too?
I mean, my whole life. People see, and when you have I don't want to say a soft spirit, meaning
that's true.
You're a calmer person.
Right.
You don't seem like you will just punch somebody in the face. Will go off. People play on that.
Yeah.
That question to both of you. You didn't go through me.
Yes.
That's a test. They didn't really think you would go through them. They didn't know. You're not supposed to go through them. But the moment you start to get that little morsel of doubt on your face, they know they got you. So then they move in. How dare you do that? I give you such and such, such and such, such and such, such and such, and you will go around my back and be able to be great without me.
Right.
That's what really should come out their mouth. But what they normally do is make you a bad person for standing in your own confidence and in your own lane. So you bad for doing for you.
Right.
When you see all of us over here waiting to hang on your coattail.
Right.
And be the leader in your stuff.
Right.
And that's where I come from with the trust issue part. It's not about I don't trust who you are. It's more so I don't trust your intentions. I don't trust that negative energy that you have in you that thinks that you can just walk into something that I've created and built and create ownership of it. Over me. Not even with me, but over me. So that's where that comes from. So I feel you. I've been there.
I knew he would like that. So now that you transitioned from servant leader and then you are the leader, and for years you were the baby of the family, you moved into ministry, you moved up into elder, and you still was a servant leader, and now you're a leader over what you have been destined by God to do, and the word author is now in front of your name. Remarkable faith. Part of that, I want to stick with the title for the day for a little bit, and we will talk about your book. But in that becomes you need a team.
Yes.
You need a team of individuals who enjoy the transition.
Yes.
So are the team people who always served along with you, or the team the people who see the move and they're happy to be part of it? How did you recognize who's your support system?
Well, interestingly enough, the team that I thought I had.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me sit up. Okay. Go.
Is actually only a percentage moved with me.
You can't take them all with you.
And that's what happened. Is I'm thinking they had a role, but in the grand scheme of things, it comes out to there's their poem, A Reason, A Season, A Lifetime, that there's a reason why they were there, but it wasn't a season for them. It was just a reason, and it was to help to shove me into where I needed to be.
And that season is over. Amen.
And then the portion, the remnant that's left, are the ones that I don't have to worry about.
Things like that. That's not on, right? Remnant. We can talk about that in the car. Okay, sorry.
And the remnant that's left are the ones who I know support me, share in my vision, will support my vision before I even, and I don't even have to ask. And that's when I knew that's my team.
That's wonderful. Girl, I need to get my tissue.
What was the time period of that though? Because some people, even in business, they're waiting. You know, I'm just going to put my ad out there.
Okay.
Internships.com and Career Build, and now Facebook got its own job section. But what was the time frame, and how did those people come into your life? Did you pursue them? Did you cherry pick them? Did you wait for them to just organically come into your life?
Some, actually many of them organically came into my life. When I made the transition to where I fellowship, the church that I fellowship now, and then what I had to do was to walk through the burning sand. And people are either going to be on the sidelines cheering you while you're walking through the sand, or they're going to say, Tress, I'm coming behind you and I'm going to walk with you. And
just show up.
Yeah, or just show up. So, or they standing at the end, or either they standing at the end seeing if you're going to make it, or they standing behind you hoping you don't make it. So either
it does.
You know, so that's what I had to go through to understand that everybody may look like you, but they are not made to be with you.
Right.
And that's what I had to learn. But going through that, I made a discovery on yesterday. God and I have these conversations, and he brought something to my mind, and I realized, you know, we often talk about church hurt.
Right.
And I said, okay. And he said, I am sick of my people running around talking about greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world, but yet a person can hurt you.
And that person who said that is the person that hurt you.
Yeah, that's the truth. That is the truth.
Yep. So it's like, yeah.
And so at this point, I mean, and you know, we've all gone through it for certain ways, but I know it's fresh with you because this is your first book.
Yes.
And I know the first book just messed people up in a way that the 8th book won't. I mean, because I'm at the point, it's my 12th book, and people are like, yeah, whatever. They don't care. But your first book really messed people up. And so learning who you can't trust. Do you have a strategy for that? Or are you still waiting through that?
now I have a strategy.
Okay.
At first I didn't, because I was one of those people, my grandmother coming out, you can't cut everybody off. You got to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Well, what began to happen is I kept giving people the benefit of the doubt and kept giving, and it began to lose parts of myself.
Oh.
And
I'm sorry, you didn't lose it. You gave it away.
Yes.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes. Vocabulary. You got to use the right word.
Yes, you're right. And I began to hand out pieces of myself without expecting anything in return.
Right.
Now, you got to go through the qualification to be in my space.
Oh.
She has it on prerequisites. I hear that.
Do you have that qualification?
Now, speaking to Natasha, the professor, aren't there prerequisites before you get to the higher level classes?
Sure is.
Yep.
Now,
get them GERs out of the way.
So now, there's the prerequisite for the master's level.
Right. I like that, because one of the things with you which makes it really good, because a lot of people don't talk about that change. For instance, if somebody was a senior pastor, then they become a pastor of a church, there's a trend. They don't really talk about what that is. And so this is something, doing your book is near and dear to your heart, and a lot of people were surprised by it. I wasn't, but other people were surprised by it because they saw you in a certain capacity. And so now that you're moving up, the one thing that we're definitely going to talk about it in more in detail, but we all can fall prey to it if we don't think about it, taking for granted people of value. I had to put together a formula for myself years ago. There were people who I would call every week and check on them, and there were people who called me every week and checked on me. I stopped calling those people and started returning calls to those people, because I said to myself, I'm taking for granted the people who look out for me. And the people I stopped calling, I never heard from them again, ever in life, totally. And the other people, we still engage. And so from that perspective, I try not to take anybody for granted, because I don't like when people take my kindness for weakness. So what strategy do you have to make sure that you're not taking, because some people's value is just saying good morning.
Right.
And that's it. That's it.
That's all that they require.
That's all.
Right.
And one of the things that I learned years ago when I went to Greater Bethlehem Temple, I smile all the time, and they call me Sunshine. And I knew my value was just being there and smiling. And when I left, it messed people up. So what strategy you have to make sure, you don't do that?
I'm the 3-part person. I do my best to always make sure I have a smile on my face, regardless of what's going on. Once I get myself calmed down. But always make sure I have, the best thing that you can wear. No makeup, anything, is a smile. Then some people don't like you to hug them, but I try to.
I do too.
I try to make sure I at least have some. If they don't allow me to hug them, I at least try to make some physical contact. The third and most and as important as the smile is a word of encouragement. And it doesn't have to be, oh, praise the Lord today. If you can just tell somebody, you know what, that color looks great on you. Because none of us have any idea of what a person had to fight through that morning to get in your space. And the last thing they need is one more thing that pushes them over the edge.
This is scary, because I just had this conversation for this whole week, and me saying goodbye to my students, having that conversation. Even young people, older people, you don't know what people are facing that they're creating a mask for. and we call you rude and disrespectful, but you don't know what it took for me to even get to that point in my life. That day, not even my life, but just that day. And I don't think people think about that, because you need to respect me. We're in that space of life now. But I don't even have those tools for myself. So I'm going to give it to you, and you take it who I am personally, as the reflection of who you are.
Right. Versus
seeing me for who I am.
Right.
And actually looking at me and recognizing that person going through something. But yeah, that's where I'm just saying, this is full circle, but people are not realizing, if you never succeed at anything, just being nice to people is so much more, you know. And I have to check myself, because often I'm going through things and I have to make sure I'm projecting what I want outwardly, like giving that to people. But we don't think about those things.
Right. And one of the things, because the whole series and that we're here, we're talking about artists and people who have an artistic focus. And sometimes people think because I'm good at singing or good at playing an instrument, no, you have to be nicer, because that means your kindness means more. You have an exponent to your kindness.
Right.
And so giving it means poor. I mean, people talk about Patty. She was so nice, and she called me baby. I mean, so we have to be nicer and more helpful and crack jokes. Denise knows, who's not on the camera, that everywhere I go, I crack jokes with everybody. Crack jokes, because you want to be the difference that they remember. You know, she's been cracking jokes. That woman is cracking that joke with me, and so, you know, now that you moved into the realm of author, just not just signing your name, but she smiled at me. Daggone it, I'm good.
And you don't realize how that could have turned around somebody having a bad time in life in general.
Right.
And you didn't take who they were or what they were giving you personally.
Right.
You just gave what you wanted, regardless.
Right.
I would just ask that question, like, how do you treat, what's your principle in treating people? And mine has always been giving people what I want to receive.
Right.
And you're not always in a posture to be able to give that.
Right.
Right.
But I always project, I'm going to give you, I'm going to be supportive, I'm going to be loving, be open. But that the person responded, but what if that's not what the person wants?
Right.
But I still got to give you what I want. Because it ain't about you in that moment.
Right.
I gotta give you what I want. And if I maintain that, and as individuals, if we do that, I think we'll be so much better.
Right.
We don't even have to start looking out for the neighbors. We'll naturally do it.
Right.
Because we're projecting what we want in life.
Right.
Yes. What we want to receive.
Right. I remember being in front of students at UMBC. My students live all over the world. And one day, Denise, who's off the camera, she and I went.
Call it a whiz.
The whiz, who was off the camera. We went to Arundel Mills, and we walking out the store, and one of my former students that was every bit of 4'2", Professor Richburg, Professor Richburg, and Denise was going, oh my. She was screaming it. I did everything you said. I traveled all over the world. You were the best. You were the best. You were the best. And Denise was like, who's that? And I felt so happy, because this girl, just to see me, felt like whatever I taught, I don't remember. It helped her life forever. Forever. And so that's what I want to be, the change that I want to see. So in our business, just being on this show, I want to be the change. We're not going to be rich and famous necessarily now, maybe later, you know what I'm saying? But we want to be here to give knowledge that we know we all need to get to the next level.
Right.
And just give what your purpose is.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to touch individuals.
Right.
Every group you're in. You're not going to be able to touch each person.
Right.
Every hand, smile at every person. But you don't know how many people you've reached that was way in the nosebleed section.
Right.
That you didn't even get to touch.
Right.
Or see or understand.
Right.
Right.
You won't even realize that, and you'll come. That's why even now, as a teacher and a leader in my own right, I don't worry about the little incidental things. but I just do what I know that I'm there to do.
Right.
And if anybody take it personally, hey, that's not out of my control. That's personal to who you are.
Right.
But I came here for this mission, and I'm gonna be everything that I'm supposed to be, and I don't second guess myself. But I think we're in a space right now where all common sense is no longer common.
Oh, that's right.
And everything has been shifted on its head, and everything is about me, and there's no I, there's no we, it's just me.
Right.
And I think we just gotta, I'm trying to figure out in terms of being an artist and just a black man and just a person, how to get back to that point before we can even think about building a business team. Like, how do we create neighborhoods and family? Again, like, two basic things that seem real basic, but they're in shambles.
Right.
And we're wondering why this doesn't support this one, or you don't love me the way you love them. Like, just the basic things are gone.
Right, it is true. And one of the things in my business that I did, because my children lived all over the country, I took pictures of me and my husband together because I wanted them to see mommy and daddy, and we clown, we dance, we smile, we don't do those serious pictures. Well, what happened was, on the internet, people like it. They like when we post date night. I was doing it for them. I wasn't doing it. And people, one time we went to a surprise birthday party, and everybody said, we can't wait till you post the next date night. And Mama said, what they talking about, Tej? I said, oh, my bad. I posted our date night. And he was like, oh. And so, but they were so excited.
Right.
And so to me, that's offering a sense of synergy that tells people that even with me and my husband, we love each other, but we like each other.
Right.
And I'm going to show people what like looks like.
Right. And yes.
But you know it doesn't exist right now. It's there, but on the surface it's not there. We don't see it. It's no more official. You know, and people don't. The fact that you're doing that for your children, and you're not focused on everybody else that's on your list, and everybody else that's following you, what they see. You're worried about the individuals that you brought into this world.
Yep.
And if you do that, everything else will just fall in its place.
Right.
And other people who need it will see it.
Right.
I thought it tickled me. So the fact that you created a book now based on your relationship, that wasn't a surprise because you were already doing that.
And that's because people ask me, I'm like, why you want to know about us? And with Sonny coming staying, when he has gigs in this area, he said, people got to know about this. I said, people don't live like that? He's like, no. That's what he said. Well, how? If I only live with me, how do I know other people don't live like that? Unless somebody comes in my house and say no.
But that gave you another layer to your educating also. Yeah. Because you know, if you live on a cul-de-sac community, you think everybody lives like this.
Oh, they don't?
No. That was my assumption going into my adulthood. The way my mother took care of business, the way my mother raised me, I assumed everybody did that. Right. Even the dysfunction in my family, I thought that was the norm for people. I learned that wasn't the norm. I learned that every parent doesn't sacrifice their needs.
Right.
Oh yeah, I sacrificed.
I didn't know that there were people like that. So my attitude was real snobbyish towards people who did not have, like who doesn't have that? That's basic. You know?
Because you didn't know that it was hard.
I didn't know that everybody in elementary school didn't have adult bedroom set, a floor model color TV in their room, cable, you know.
You had all that?
That was my existence. I was the only child, and the only grandson. So I got a lot more than the individual. So I assumed that everybody had those things. So I welcomed people into my space that did not have it. And then you start understanding what jealousy is and envy is. But now you have another layer to your education. Your children have another layer because they assuming that everybody.
Yeah, they did.
Your parents don't love each other like this.
And to see, and it wasn't until somebody else came in the house and said, people need to see this. And I was like, they do? And then he kept saying it. And that's what made that happen. But I'm going to tell you one thing I learned. When I went away to Frostburg, I lived in a house off campus, and all of the Caucasian girls that we lived with had maids. I didn't know people had maids up on TV. I mean, I knew I read it in the history book, but I thought by the time we got along.
You brought them to college?
No, but because they had maids, they didn't know how to make up their bed. They didn't know how to cook. And so they said,
You was that roommate.
they said, if we buy the chicken and the greens and the macaroni, will you cook it? I'm like, heck yeah, I get to eat for free. Buy it, I'm cooking it. And I was cooking every weekend because they never had that at home.
Right.
And that's all we ate, you know, fried chicken, macaroni cheese, greens. Oh, they thought it was gourmet. I didn't tell them it wasn't.
Right. Well, they know now. They know now.
And so going back to you, Tressa, in your book, did you do this as a solo artist? And I know you did. But when you was putting it together, did you like confer with anybody to read it? Or did you just like put your head down, me and God, we got this? How did you do your book?
Actually, once I wrote it and was getting to, I was going through the editing period as I was writing it. An amazing coach, I'm not going to say her name and see Natasha. But
tell my business in public between us.
This is her unveiling. The curtain has been pulled away.
She might as well just accept it, deal with it, and move on.
Whatever.
And you know, on a suggestion, you know, that I should have other people read it, and the editor agreed with me as well. So I pushed it out. I sat back and thought about some people who I could get really good feedback from, and I pushed it out to 5 people.
Okay.
And I actually got responses back from 4, and they saw, you know, just a few different things that I didn't see, and I'm like, okay, I got, you know, and because I already had a professional editor, you know, I was like, I needed, you know, some people that just needed to read it, and that helped me.
Denise's been a reader before me, who's over there nobody sees.
Yeah, so and that's what I wanted to do, and every response I got back was, I can't wait till it's published. And you know, because what I did was I took maybe the first 2, I think I might have sent them the first 2 chapters, and then at the end of my book, I wrote a prayer on developing remarkable faith, and I sent that as well. And they were trying to figure out how, because I didn't send anything else, and they were trying to figure out how it fit in, and then it clicked. They said, I get it now.
Okay.
And it was like, and I did it for a reason, but it helps to have persons that don't see you all the time, that don't talk to you all the time, but you can trust their wisdom. And that's what I did, to have a different readership take a look at it and offer feedback.
And one of the things I can say, I love your writing style. I mean, you like always try to be down on yourself because you don't have the this behind your name, but whatever. Your writing style is warm and rich and deep and relevant. It's not all these highfalutin words where you got to keep the thesaurus right beside you because you don't know what that means. I'm like, what does that mean?
Right.
But it's rich because it just, you always read. I like warm writers, and that's your style.
Yes.
So I can't wait to read it myself. She's like, look at her. She's not like, ooh, I'm at my baby. I'm at my baby. Let me. So I've been teasing everybody about it. So just tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book is, the title is Remarkable Faith, Moving Your Faith from Ordinary to Extraordinary. And it's for everyone. Non-believer, in-between believers, seasoned believer, kind of, sort of believer.
Wish you was a believer,
right.
Not quite a believer.
Right. And it's...
Don't judge my life.
And it's simply... And just...
Nate is raw today. I'm sorry.
And it's simply about growing this little teeny tiny teensy weeny seed that barely fits on the tip of your finger. That's called mustard seed, Faith. But it's growing it to the point where you and God have such a connection that when you believe it, He does it.
Okay. Give us a scenario without telling your business about you, only you, no member of your family, you. You could just tell the most recent one without telling all your business. That was deep. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say that.
Okay. So recently,
this is major. This is major.
April. Yeah, so it's April now.
This is major.
In February, I work for the federal government, so we have jobs are posted internally in the system. So I'm just flipping, periodically I look to see what's out there. And I was flipping, and I came across this job. I read through it, went to flip back, but my heart was already tied to it. So went back, read it again, flip back. I said, okay, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I had one of my coworkers help me make sure my resume was up to date, and I applied for it. I applied, so there's end dates when you submit your application. I applied for it on February 14th. It closed on February 15th, which was a Friday. The following Tuesday, Monday was a holiday, so the following Tuesday, when I got to work, I had in my inbox a request for an interview.
That's the government.
Yes.
It's not government, it's government.
Yeah.
That's months.
Thursday, 2 days later, I interviewed.
Mustard seed.
And I was told that out of 6 candidates, my resume went to the top as soon as he read it. And these are people who have bachelor's, master's degrees, PhDs. And
how many things you got behind yours?
Yeah, and I have none of them.
Okay, thank you.
But I was the #1 candidate. And I was offered the job the same day.
Now I hear your story and I believe it. What I'm saying to you is, so we have people listening that be like, see, that's why I don't need to go to college. But what you do have behind your name is experience.
Elder. And when she talked about burn and stand, that's an ordination process that's equivalent to a master's degree at the seminary. I went to the seminary. The seminary, one graduate class at the seminary is the same as 2 graduate classes at a regular college, and I have a master's degree from Hopkins and a master's degree from Morgan, and seminary is harder than both of them. She passed that. So she said the burning sands in code. I articulated it correctly.
Amen. Yeah. But and I'm a big advocate for education.
Right.
That my daughter is the first one in my family that graduated from college, and now it's part of the family code now. But for me, I've gone several times. I mean, I've gone and taken classes, and always something catastrophic would happen, and I would wrestle and I'd be crying, and I'm like, God, why can't I get this done? And he would remind me, I have another path for you.
Yeah.
But I have to work twice as hard as the person who does have the educational piece. And in that, God has rewarded me for my faithfulness. I can't tell you right now where I'm going.
But it's wonderful.
But I will be relocating to another state.
And I made the statement because we normally hear your story, but we don't hear all that other.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. What
You don't hear
yes.
all the, maybe the attempts to college that will soon be a graduate.
Oh, yeah.
We don't hear any of that. We just hear, I made it.
Right.
And then, especially young people hear that, and they like, see, I don't need education. I can just make it because I'm just show up and put in my application and get denied. Because you don't have any work, you don't have any experience, you don't have any fellowship behind what your goals are.
Which is critical. And you have to have...
And she right. I can't say this enough. Being a teacher at a major university, she can write. A lot of people can't write.
You know, one thing I do is, without having that formal, college education, I do my homework. I have no problem with going to the library and researching things. I don't just take what's on the internet and that's it. And God has positioned me where I know people who don't mind sharing their knowledge, their wisdom, and their experience with me. And Tasha will tell you, I normally, because I ran out the house, but I normally always have a notebook and a pen with me.
I was wondering where you started.
I know, I have.
The wizard got you.
but that's something. And I believe in taking notes. Things that I hear and things that I see that I know would be, if it's blessed me, I'm under the impression that it's going to be a benefit to someone else. But I don't just take it and run with it. I make sure I run it to ground that it's sound, and that it actually has impact and can make a difference.
Speak over just where you're going. You don't have to tell us address and stuff, but just speak over and these are teachable moments that we're trying to push here. And we're trying to give ourselves and each other. And people listening, but this the work that goes into it, because people think being grandfathered in was you are in the right place at the right time. No, I was doing the work, and I was allowed to cross over how I could cross over, not just you gave me an opportunity. I earned it.
And actually I've been working for the federal government for 33 years. I actually started working 40 years ago at the age of 14. So when they used to have the summer jobs for, and as soon as I could get a work permit, I started working. And I, learned at an early age, the importance of making sure that you're prepared for the next assignment. And where I am now, working where I work, one of the things that I did was I diversified my work experience. I haven't worked in the same place for 33 years. I've been afforded the opportunity to be able to move around. And I look at it, I don't just take a job just to take it. I say, okay, this next assignment that I'm looking at, how is it going to benefit me down the road? And and you take the lessons from it, and then you move to the next assignment, and then you build on that. So each assignment going forward, you use that information to build on the platform where you're headed.
Right, and one of the things with you just didn't move from assignment to assignment. You went to work to be a student, to learn, to be a master, and then you moved to the next place where you were a student, you learned, and you were a master, a student, and you learned, and you were a master. And what they saw, the mastery of all of those knowledge areas, it gave you a unique skill that somebody that hasn't done that for that many years, if they want somebody that knows it, they have to pick somebody like you.
Right.
And so that's having the faith to not just go to work and get the day done, but go to work and to get the work done. So Nate, one of the things I definitely wanted to ask you with regard to understanding how not to take valuable people for granted. What's your strategy for that?
One, you have to be able to recognize the valuable people in your life. This is, since I've started doing this show almost 6 years ago now, one of the things that I say to myself and everybody that comes through, stop following the fair weather people. 5,000 in the corner that's on your team because somebody of great stature said you were great and you were awesome. Follow those 5 people that are there when the sound goes out, or the lights are janky, or you're at a questionable station, or you're at a questionable part of your life. Follow those 5 people that are always tuned in, that don't call you during your show, that don't ask you for more than what they're willing to give you. So these are personal things, of course, you can hear it, but I've learned to recognize people in my life that I knew were there. I knew that this person always loved me, but they couldn't come to everything. This person I could call when I was hungry, you know, when I needed something. But I tried to always win over the naysayers. So I had to stop looking at them because they're always going to be naysayers. And as long as I try to clean my name up with them, it's going to further dig me into a hole with the people who like, look, I'm standing right here. This helped me. Like, help me help you. You know, support me supporting you. Opposed to trying to follow and gather the people who aren't coming. The only reason that they're there is to take from you. You know, I know there were always people that was looking at me like, man, I could help him, but he on something else right now. You know, and I may have lost some of those people, but I've gained individuals in my life that are always there, that are supportive, even when I don't recognize what support is. So I had to learn how to define support. I had to learn how to define fair weather and understand that they're only with you because you can do something. And the moment your well runs dry, look around. See how far they are away from you. You know, it's easy for somebody to like, you know what, I can't do this with you no more because you ain't about nothing, or or you can't give me nothing. But look at the people that will stay despite what you're able to give them. And those are the people that I now support. Those are the people now that I uplift. Those are the poor people that I'll travel to New York just for a couple hours to see perform and come back. Those are the individuals that I support now. Not people who like something because I like something. They did something because I did something for them. Tick for tat people. I don't have room for you in my space no more. You're slowing me down because I'm trying to carry you and carry the people that are being supported. You know, and that's been my biggest lesson. You know, you gotta support those 5 in the corner, because those 5 will turn into 5,000 one day. All 5 of them are gonna bring somebody to the party. That's 10 people right there. You know, these 5,000 are taking from you. They're not bringing anything. They're taking up space. Those 10 people now can't have room into your space. You letting all 5,000 of these people now. So that's where I'm at with it. That's the lesson that I've been able to give to myself and try to help other people with.
So after this series is over, what's your next?
What's next for me is work. Work. So this year for the Artist Exchange has been about bringing together those individuals like yourself that has something to say. I needed a break because being in the hot seat for every week, twice a week, when no other show on our station even had a show twice a week.
Oh, really?
I've done that since I first got here.
Wow.
So everybody else has 1 hour or 2 hour once a week. I had more shows than the owner of the station.
Wow.
So and I never took off. I just would go from January to December. Back to January, go to December. I never took time off because I felt like I'm learning something. You don't have time. You know, the learning curve is short. You're learning nowadays. So, but I'm learning to take more time. So in the upcoming weeks, you'll see more series. So we have a couple more lined up. We have a couple more organizations that are going to come through and do what they do. And hopes to just spreading the message. And that's what I knew coming into this year. It was going to have to be is bringing in partners versus, and that's a team for me, a partner. Now.
Right.
somebody that's always here, but maybe somebody that's here for this block of time, and maybe they can come back again at another point, but they're here for this point. Instead of trying to, you know, go through the people that I have on my team and work them crazy until I can build a team. So for the Artist Exchange, just go keep going. You're going to start seeing more on-location interviews, more, you know, traveling interviews, and just more one sit-down conversations. I work with the Peel Center, so I'm definitely interviewing a number of people for them, and then I'm doing a lot of workshops. We have two right now, actually, diversifying your audiences and consent, like building a safe space for people on like sexual abuse, rape, molestation. So those are 2 workshops that I'm workshopping right now and trying to find places and venues to be able to just set them up and go. So I always work. I'm always working. I'm always create something for myself while I'm still working as a teaching artist and at the station and doing what I do. But I don't know how to do anything else. I never knew how the light stayed on. You know, who always maintained it even when she didn't have it. Who was grandfathered in as an addictions counselor. Never went to college because she had me. She didn't finish college and ended up becoming an addictions counselor. You know, and did that for a number of years, and now she's retired. So that's the image that I had to look at and that I had to work towards. So it's just working. I'm an artist, so it's never one 9 to 5 thing. It's always gig to gig to gig, and just recreating yourself as you go along.
Wow.
That's what I'm at. And then I'm waiting for you to see Natasha Richburg to manage me.
See, he says that.
Your government name.
I can't handle. You got too much.
I'm just in line waiting, and that's where we at. So I'm gonna let Ms. Richburg close this out.
Okay.
So you can ask your last couple questions, and we probably got like 3 more minutes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you close it.
So we could do the 17-year-old self.
Yeah.
Okay. One question that Nate always asks today: what would you tell your 17-year-old self?
What advice would you give?
What advice?
I would tell my 17-year-old self, you're beautiful.
Oh, okay.
You're valuable. You have greatness in you. And there is a world of opportunities and possibilities waiting for you. Don't settle.
Wonderful. And when is the title of your book and your release date?
The title of my book is Remarkable Faith, and the release date is Sunday, May 19th, 2019.
Where?
It'll be held in the atrium of Divine Wisdom Christian Center, 9990 Liberty Road in Randallstown, Maryland.
Oh, that's very good. And this is C. Natasha Richburg. You can meet me, just Google me, C. Natasha Richburg. My book, people ask what is the secret of our 36-year marriage, is available on Amazon right now. And we look forward to having you back next week when we talk about getting paid. One thing about artists, at some point, we got to make that and get that bag and bring it home.
There we go. Thank you to our 2 lovely guests. Thank you to the wizard that's sitting over in the corner. Thank you to Ms. Richburg for another awesome week. We'll be back for 1 more week, so don't go anywhere. Next up at 9 p.m. tonight, It Is What It Is radio show only on BeExposedRadio.com. Thank you, ladies. Have a nice day. Have a great day. And please enjoy yourself. The Artist Exchange radio show on BeExposedRadio.com.
Listen to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out the flashback.
We need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we